Sup, Mirrorless Geekers. So today we've got Kwasnik Pictures here, and we're going to find out about his journey and talk a little bit about the industry and gear and that sort of thing. So first of all, how did you start your photo and video journey?
Yeah, I pretty much got started with doing visual effects and things like I watched a lot of Harry Potter movies and Star Wars. So I was doing a lot of things in After Effects, so lightsabers and teleportation effects and things like that. So that kind of escalated to making short films with my friends, short action videos. And then after that, I actually, made a step to go to events. I got my GH4, I got a glide cam. I went to different events to basically just film them for free. We did that with two of my friends, and that was really fun. We went to Holy Festival, which is a color festival it's like an Indian festival. So they all throw colors, and there's a lot of water, mud, and stuff. So we filmed that, and that was a really fun video. And next year, we actually got asked by the people that organized the event to, actually do another proper one. And yeah, that kind of got me started. Then I started doing music videos for free for friends, and I kind of escalated to, doing music videos with much bigger bands in New Zealand.
Awesome. So you mentioned your first few gigs and that sort of thing. You did it free. Is that something that you would recommend for filmmakers that are starting out?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good way to practice because there's no expectations. So you pretty much can, experiment with, different angles. You don't have a timeline. You don't have a deadline to, finish something. You can just take your time and explore, creative ways to just, film. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess if you were to, think back in time when you first started your filmmaking journey, is there anything that you would tell yourself back then?
Probably being consistent with putting work out there, like on YouTube or Instagram. I've been doing videos and stuff for almost like 12, 13 years now. So I only started, putting up stuff on Instagram like constantly, like, every few days, 2 years ago. So I would say, put your work out there. Don't be afraid to like show, your videos or your photos or anything like that early on. Yeah. So that's what I said.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned like consistently putting video out there and that sort of thing. What would you say to people that like are trying to like look for the perfect video versus just getting content out there? So are you a bit of a perfectionist? Do you try and make things perfect, or do you just get the job done?
I try to make it as perfect as possible, but that's, it's not always possible. Like there's deadlines and things like that. I think just be creative. If you have enough time, you can be more creative. I don't think there's a thing which is a perfect video. It's kind of hard to create a perfect video, but you just have to let it go at some point. But you definitely can, keep going and keep creating and working on a video. But yeah, you should definitely stop at some point and move on to the next project. So that way you can kind of explore different genres and different things. Yeah, not just get stuck on one.
So as a creator yourself, how do you keep on top of your own style and keep up to date with staying creative and that sort of thing?
Yeah, things that push you, it's kind of like if you have, deadlines are really good. So staying creative, if you have a deadline, is really good. Or you can make a deadline for yourself if you're creating, YouTube videos or anything like that. If you put yourself, a deadline, you want to finish this by this date, that really helps with being creative. If you don't have a deadline, you kind of get lazy or not do things. So it's good to have deadlines for creativity. And yeah, just even watching YouTube for inspiration, or films, different whatever your favorite genre is, like action or sci-fi. Watch some films and get inspired by cinematography or lighting or the audio design. Not many people look at the audio design, but actually, if you put on headphones for your favorite film, you'll discover a lot of different unique sounds and those kind of features you can use in your own videos. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you mentioned like audio design and like lighting and that sort of thing. How important is audio and lighting in cinematography?
Yeah, it's definitely important. Cameras are great. Have like 4K sensor and whatever. But even if you have 1080p, just a standard camera, you can shoot on your iPhone or whatever. And if you do the lighting right, it'll definitely look much better than a red camera with bad lighting. So lighting, I would put above the camera, and then all the technology goes underneath. Lighting is probably the first priority for cinematographer.
Yeah. And when you need to like film like a music video, for example, how much planning goes into that?
It's usually a lot of planning. So we have a team of few people, and usually I'm doing the editing and cinematography, and I have a friend that's producing and directing music videos. So they do a lot of planning as well, like most of the pre-production kind of stuff, and then we kind of get together, talk about it, our ideas and stuff. So usually it's a lot of pre-production for a music video. It depends, which music videos. Some music videos are very simple, where you can just go on set and just film some shots. But that's a very simple one. But the more you want to, the more creative you want to get, the more pre-production you need, because certain things require more effort and more things done in pre-production, such as like we did a video for Devilskin, which is a metal band in New Zealand. So we had a whole studio painted red. The walls were painted red, the floor was painted black. So it required a big, studio painting to get the shots we wanted. And then we, had a lot of, we had a pool with red paint that people got in it. And then we filmed the top-down shot of the people in the red pool. And then I pretty much masked them out, put them on the wall, on the red wall, and then the performance in real life were standing down looking at the red wall, and they're looking at themselves, which I've put on the red wall. It sounds complicated, but yeah, it's
Wow.
yeah, you could watch the video if you search up Devilskin. But yeah, it's a lot of pre-production that you wouldn't be able to do that if you haven't had pre-production done. You must do pre-production at least to some point for music videos. It's important for sure.
Wow. Far out. So I guess when you started out, you would have been like independent and creating videos on your own, and now you're doing like full-blown sets.
Yeah. It really depends from what we're doing. Sometimes we go onto locations. Sometimes we go to studios. But yeah, definitely, yeah. The more you do, the more creative you want to get, and the more different and variety you create with your videos. So it's definitely important to have a lot of ideas for music videos, because you always got to get creative with those.
Yeah, and I guess where's your source of motivation? Like, what do you do? Like, where do you look in that sort of thing?
Source of inspirations, I mean, definitely other music videos are very important to kind of research and just get different ideas. And it's also like, you get inspired. Some people can copy, but it's not really good to copy music videos or like just copy in general, but it's good to get inspired from them. And yeah, it's you watch music videos, you can kind of get inspiration from those. Films, short films, anything on Netflix, and just listening to music is also important. You can literally just get inspired from the song itself. You just close your eyes, listen to it, and you get ideas just flowing in from the song itself.
Yeah, I hear a lot about people that like get a song and they get motivated from that song and then they create a film based on that. So that's quite interesting there. Just thinking back from when you first started till now, what's been like a low point and what's been like a high point for you so far?
Yeah, I probably can start with a low point. Because the low point led up into the high point. So the low point was kind of not, fully believing in myself and kind of still working with someone else and kind of, being the camera guy instead of like looking over the whole project. So I was more, filming someone else, not like really confident with taking on a music video. And I've got asked to take a big, huge music video. And I was really, not super keen to do it. It was like very, very hard struggle to, it was like so much work to be done, so much pre-production, and like just the whole idea of it just kind of scared me. And then somehow I got, pushed by the guy that was like kind of also producing this and the head of the band. He kind of, pushed me to do it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then we done it, and that led to the high point, which pretty much is like my favorite video we've done so far. It's also the biggest. I think it's like 5 or 6 million views on YouTube, and it's went really big for the band as well. So it's like one of my like most exciting videos, and it also was huge with production. There was a lot of days of filming. We had a lot of people running and fighting and things like that in different villages and things. So yeah, it was really, really crazy. But yeah, it was a really cool high point from a low point.
Nice,
Yeah.
man. Nice. Also, I wanted to ask you about like building your name and a brand for yourself. It looks like you've really nailed that with the Quasnick Pictures. How did you, or I guess, what's your tips for building a brand for a new filmmaker?
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks. Just, start doing stuff earlier than you think. Like, you might think, oh, I'll start in a week time or a month time or later, or I don't have a camera to start. I think, like, just get started now with what you have is the most important thing. Like, even if you have a phone for taking, photos or whatever, or video, it's really important you get started, like, right now. The earlier you start, the better. The more time you have to practice, and your first video might not be the best one, so you better get that out of the way and get that done and keep going. For like my Instagram, a lot of the photos are done just on a phone, but people can't notice it's Instagram. You keep scrolling, but yeah, like 50% sometimes, like, or even more. A lot of photos, yeah, just on a phone. So you can get great quality. And also, big tip is, even if the photo doesn't look as good, when you look at it, take it into Photoshop, take it into Lightroom, and yeah, you can definitely change a photo like a lot with editing. Editing is really important too.
100%. And I guess we can talk about a big question that always gets asked, and I guess you would probably get asked this a lot, but when like a new person to filmmaking or photography asks you, I want to do this, like, what camera should I buy? What's your answer to that?
Right. Definitely use the one you have right now. I've started with like small handy cams, so anything will be better than that at the moment. So yeah, you can definitely get started with anything, but usually I recommend the Panasonic G7. So it has like 4K, manual settings, you can control them. So yeah, it's a good starter. Otherwise, GH4. I use GH4 perhaps. It's still a 4K camera. It's really good. I still use one for photos or as a B camera. It's also really good for it's cheap because you can buy it used, and all the lenses you can also get them for pretty cheap, and it's a really good camera. You can change all the manual settings. You've got a lot of settings in there, and once you're ready to move to something better like a GH5, you can, always transfer all those lenses because they're the same, mount. So it works out really well. Otherwise, yeah, just any camera is really good. Don't really have a preference, but yeah.
And what are you currently shooting with, and why?
Right, so I got the BoomX GH5 and the BoomX S1. So I use them as A and B cameras. They're really good. The S1 is really good for like low light. Low light performance is pretty good because it's a full frame sensor. That's what I'm shooting right now. And what else? Yeah, it has a great slow-mo capability, so you can do a lot of cool slow motion, which I always do. 4K 50 frames per second. It's really important if you're doing music videos. That way, usually we film everything in 4K 50. That way we can just slow things down when necessary, because sometimes you might get a cool performance shot, but then that performance shot can be a cool slow-mo B-roll shot. So we use, those 50 frames to our advantage and to save time. What else is good about it? I don't know, just like it in general. Cool system, yeah.
You mentioned, you shoot in 4K for music videos. I noticed on your Instagram, you've got some serious computer kit going on there.
Yeah.
How do you what's your best tips for managing files and all that sort of thing?
Right, yeah. Still haven't had that figured out 100%, but I got, just hard drives, hard drives are really hard. The best way would be to have a big, server or hard drive with, 100 terabytes or something, and then it's all backed up by itself and all that stuff. But at the moment, I'm using hard drives, so every project that I'm working on is backed up onto 2 hard drives, and I have a third one on my computer, which is, the file I work on. And every day after I finish the edit, then I copy the project file to either cloud or another hard drive just to have it backed up as well. And yeah, just file management in general is really important. Specifically with the file structure, it's really important to have the same file structure every time. And it's easier to find things, and if you shoot on many different days, different cameras, it's good to label all your folders accordingly, and yeah, that will just save you a lot of time with editing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if you could only shoot with one camera and one lens for a lifetime, what would you choose?
Well, yeah, probably would go for, that's a hard question, either GH5 or S1. Oh, probably would go for GH5, just because I could use the Sigma 18-35 because that would be my lens of choice, but it's a micro four foot lens or an APS-C lens, so it doesn't work on full frame as much. You can do in 4K 50 on the S1, but in full frame mode you wouldn't get all the capabilities of full frame. So yeah, I think I would go with GH5, a speed booster, and the 18-35 just because it's kind of a versatile setup. You can still get nice bokeh. And it's not too heavy, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really go with I don't know, Ursa Mini or a Rad or anything, because shot with those before, but it's really, heavy. So if you're using that for a whole lifetime, I mean, you gotta have some strong arms. Yeah.
Yeah, true. In terms of the future of filmmaking and how the content is out there, like YouTube and stuff like that. What do you see the future as in terms of the filmmaking industry?
Right. It's important, to kind of acknowledge, the new platforms at the moment as well. TikTok, for example. A lot of people are kind of going there and, transferring. And it's a really cool platform, I think, at the moment. It gets you creative because it's, if you're doing the 15-second limited time, it kind of, forces you to make a short video, quick cuts, and you just explore a different style of videos. through that platform, and it's also vertical, so it's a little bit, it's different. We filmmakers usually shoot horizontal, so doing verticals videos is a challenge. We've done a music video fully vertically, so I actually had the camera mounted vertically and monitor mounted vertically, so that was a big challenge, because you think you're on a wide lens, but actually, because it's so narrow, someone walks a little bit and you're like, it's easy to lose, your subject within the frame, because it's so, narrow. Like, you don't realize how narrow, 16:9 is when you flip it. So yeah, it's a big challenge, but yeah, so it's good to explore vertical, I think, with new platforms such as TikTok and stuff. So yeah, definitely, yeah.
And where's your future in filmmaking? Where do you see yourself in, like, I don't know, 5 years time?
Right. That's a good question. Definitely making music videos, I think, because I definitely still enjoy, the process of making music videos and editing them and things like that. Definitely would want to start doing more like YouTube stuff and reviews and things like that. Already working on a few at the moment. So yeah, just working with different people and kind of collaborating a little bit more with people like you. Yeah.
Oh, sick, man. And I guess if you could give one tip to someone that's starting out, that's kind of afraid to get out there, what's that one tip that you'd give that person?
Just get out there. just start. Just start doing things. I mean, there's no point for footage to be lying on your hard drive. It's better to just hit that upload button and just start. That's how you get better. You put things out there, and then you slowly you do more quantity leads to quality. So you just keep going, keep making either if it's photos or video, just keep practicing. You can just get your friends together and just make any story or something fun. Or a good tip would be did what I did, is kind of just go to events, because they're all pre-planned. You don't need to do any pre-production. You just go there and kind of film. You can of course ask for permission if you can film people, but if as long as they're happy, just go to an event and film it. It's a lot of fun.